okay, I know you see it. I got the braids, and I'm actually flying to Colombia today. But just because I have a flight today does not mean the grind stops. So without further ado, today we are reacting to gym inflation is crazy right now. Let's jump right into it.
Night shift.
Night shift.
Night shift.
The night shift.
Night shift.
If you've been using social media in the last few months, you have probably seen an absurd amount of people posting insanely high-level lifts on Instagram.
Yeah, did he
or
just
TikTok.
bounce it off his
People
chest?
all the way down to 14 years old are now lifting weights well above what any sane human would call
Wait
impressive.
a minute, bro. Nah,
All the way down
no.
to 14 years old are now
This dude is 18? His shoulders are the size of my head.
lifting weights well above what any sane human would call impressive. And every day it seems that the good old
Jesus.
two-plate bench is becoming
Two-plate bench, that's my bag. That's me, that's my bag.
less and less impressive by online standards. It's actually come to a point now where if you post your PR on Instagram, you may even be met with a crowd calling it mid, or spewing claims about how they lifted the same weight at a much lower body weight after a few
Insane.
months of training while recovering from a back injury they got while driving their Ferrari through their
But what is that
underground
pose?
garage in Dubai. Now, I recently posted this video of Bubba Pritchett, son of the strongman Jerry Pritchett, deadlifting 261 kilos at just 14 years old. And the comments were
575?
filled with people saying that it wasn't even that impressive, when in reality, less than 0.1% of gym
Nah, I think a lot of people are on steroids and are like they're trying to not claim that they're on steroids. Like I guess there is a negative connotation when you're on steroids, but at the same time, I feel like if you just like are open about it, I feel like there'll be less of a negative connotation than rather you claim to be natural for a long time and then it comes out that you're not natural. I understand that people want to be seen as like a genetic outlier or something like that. They want to be seen like, oh wow, you're so great, look at you. But if everybody did steroids like you did, a lot of people would be strong. Don't get me wrong, it takes a lot to achieve a high level, a high physique or high amount of muscle. Just because you're on steroid doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna be an Olympic bodylifter or something like that. You know, it's just, what did I say? Olympic bodylifter? That's, where am I going? Where am I going with this? Don't do steroids, guys.
goers at any age could get even remotely close to this number. But why has this standard of what an impressive physique and strength level is gotten so out of hand lately? Why does it seem like everyone is benching 3 plates after a year of lifting? And is it even all real? Well, let's start with this.
That's Sam Sulek. That guy's a steroid fiend. Like, I don't even know how old he is. I think he's like early 20s or something like that. But that guy, he's so strong. But like, I think he's very open about the fact that he's not natural. But at the same time, is the fact that he's so open about not being natural and the amount of praise that he's getting, is that just allowing a lot younger of a crowd to want to be on steroids too? Like, is he affecting the society in a negative way? Granted, he's a positive person. Like, he's a cool dude, I think. But I think his impact might be, I don't know, it could be a negative impact.
The way we consume gym content has changed a lot through our use of social media platforms. Now, social media, it runs on dopamine, aka it will only show you things that you've shown interest in. And if you're into the fitness and lifting community, that usually translates to showing you incredible physiques and a ton of videos of really strong people,
What is that?
with the occasional oil up. But when I started watching fitness and gym content back on YouTube in 2013, the guys just weren't as strong or as impressive as they are today. I remember watching guys like Christian Guzman, Nick Wright, Chris Jones, and Matt Ogus. And I remember vividly
Oh,
that
man,
it
I
was
remember
seen
those
as
names.
pretty crazy when these guys benched over 3 plates, or that their physiques were often deemed way too good to be natural. Matt Ogus in particular was very often called out for being a fake natural even back then.
I'm half natty. I'm half natty.
The hell is half natty?
Baby.
But in today's scene, you can't even scroll through a couple of reels without seeing some 16-year-old who has been training for 2 or 3 years benching 4 plates for reps, or some guy who
That's
looks like
insane.
David Lade after a few years in the gym. Heck, Alex Eubank literally started taking steroids because he felt his physique was too mediocre for a natural lifter, and he wanted to see how big he could get while on low doses of PEDs. The standard set today is simply a lot.
I remember hearing about that. Like, he was natural for a long time and everybody was praising him for being natural and everybody followed him specifically because he was natural. And then once he started doing steroids, just he had the mentality of needing to keep up with everybody else on like Instagram and TikTok. And I think his community kind of backlashed on him, you know? Like, I don't understand it. Like, just stay natural. Like, you don't have to compete with everybody else. Maybe he's doing it because he wants to have the content of the people that aren't natural, but your whole point was the fact that you were natural, man. What happened?
Is simply a lot higher than it ever has been across all platforms and age groups, whether you are natural or not. But why is
Just
that?
looking
well,
at
it's not like
dude bods.
impressive physiques and strength levels weren't a thing before. In fact, physiques back even 100 years ago were still insanely impressive, even by today's standard. But the fitness and gym community has grown considerably over the last decade. And with the inclusion of social media, a lot more people are now posting their own results through the different platforms. While back 10 years ago it was seen as pretty weird or cringe, but today almost everyone does it. It's so easy to just film your set or a video flexing, add some edgy music and post that on platforms like TikTok. So these super impressive.
How do y'all feel about people filming in the gym? Are y'all okay with that? Like, do you try to avoid being on people's cameras, or do you get mad when you see somebody set up a camera or their phone or something like that? I know some people specifically try to bait, or, you know, maybe it's sometimes mainly women that do the baiting of they film themselves and they try to like get people looking at them to be like, oh man, these people are being creeps to me in the gym. I feel like that's usually the time when it becomes a problem. But unless you're filming and you're just like casual and people are walking in front of your camera and you don't get mad that somebody's walking in front of your camera because it's like a public gym, then it's fine. But the second you're like filming yourself specifically for the purpose of getting other people in your video, like, nobody else asked to be in your video. Like, don't be weird about it.
Impressive physiques today are simply much more visible to the public, and combined with these algorithms showing you more and more of what you want to watch, it may seem like there are millions of teens and young adults who are way ahead of you in terms of strength and muscle mass. But not only does it now feel like everyone is ahead, there is also a lot of truth to that. Take a look at powerlifting, for example. The sheer number of young and up-and-coming lifters who are now smashing world record lifts is higher than ever before. A lot of the top lifters in the world right now are juniors. At the World Championships last year, a junior got second place in the super heavyweight division. And in the 105 class, a junior would place top 3 in open. In weightlifting, the current Olympic champion in the 89 kilo class is only 20 years old. And in bodybuilding, the guys winning pro cards are just getting younger and younger. Like, there is an actual element of inflation here, because guys do keep getting stronger. More people are in the gym and training hard. The amount of knowledge and coaches available to optimize training variables is higher than ever. And by default, the number of guys who want to become powerlifters, weightlifters, and bodybuilders also goes up. But so has the number of people, especially young guys, who are taking anabolic steroids. Now, even though we have a record...
Yeah, I think social media is skewed the way people view what a body should look like. Almost like, okay, remember the early 2000s when models, or the ideal picture for women in like Western society, was like that super skinny, like America's Next Top Model, super skinny Tyra Banks looking person, like a twig of a human being. And if you had like any percentage of body fat, you were considered like a plus size model back then. I feel like that's low-key what's happening now, but for men it's like you got to be huge and big and super strong and extremely low body fat, or else like, do you even lift? People post, or social media only shows people at the top of their game. Like, say I post something, my best deadlift was like 405 pounds. Like, say I posted that, and if I leave that up on my Instagram, essentially people are gonna think like, wow, this guy lifts 409 deadlift and like he's just great. And if I keep that up on my page, people are gonna assume that that's like I'm always being able to do that, when in reality I haven't been able to do that high of a weight in like years, you know. But if I don't post these things, like if I only post when I'm at the top of my game, people are only gonna see what I want them to see, and their view of me is gonna be skewed because that's actually not what's reality. It's like almost like catfishing. Like, people aren't gonna be super low body fat or at the strongest that they ever been all year round, you know. They're only gonna post when they're at their top. Same as like really anybody, like models, they're only gonna post when they're at their maybe the slimmest or at their strongest, because they know that that's when they look the best. But they're not always like that year round, you know.
number of high-level natural lifters like Jeff Nippard, Hussein Farhat, Lex Little, and apparently this guy. The sheer number of guys taking PEDs and posting their results on social media far exceeds anything we've ever seen. Guys like Sam Sulek, Noel Diesel, Larry Wheels, the Trend Twins, even educational channels like Renaissance Periodization are centered around people who take massive amounts of PEDs.
I think about violence all the time.
Hey, yo.
Thank you, Greg.
Now, I don't think any of them produce bad content or are directly bad for the community. I enjoy seeing oiled up men as much as the next guy, but seeing all these super physiological physiques on a daily basis isn't good for most people's perception of what their own physique or strength level is. If you only ever watch the upper 1% do everything every day, you would start to compare and feel worse about yourself, even if you are in the upper 10% of gym goers yourself. And this is on top of the fact that many people will not post anything that looks remotely bad on their social media.
That's true. People that are at the top get the most exposure, you know? Like, people compare themselves basketball-wise to, like, LeBron James or something like that, but he's literally the best, you know? Or maybe not right now, but, like, in terms of, like, skill sports, people compare themselves to, like, Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo because they're the most popular, but, like, it took them a long time to get there, and they're also like outliers. Not everybody's gonna be as good as them, but people compare themselves to them, which in one factor is like, yes, compare yourself to the best so you can have the best chances of becoming your best. But when you don't become that, sometimes people get like real down on themselves and look at themselves as less than because of they're not reaching the same, you know, level of success as the upper 1% of people doing that specific task. And that can lead to a level of delusion and self-hate and self-doubt, which is kind of detrimental to one's mental well-being.
Fitness influencers are not gonna post a picture of their physique in a bad lighting without a pump or without flexing. At the same time, you're not gonna see some wealth guru publish a picture of anything that isn't high class, like smuggling testosterone across the border. Take a look at David Lade with a pump and good lighting versus him in a natural setting. It's very apparent that what is shown through social media is usually never.
Yes, people only post them at their absolute best. Like, yeah, I'm sure, I forget this guy's name, but whoever this is probably didn't post this himself. Maybe this is like coming from somebody else's channel of, hey, I found such and such in my gym and look at him, he's so cool, I have a picture with this guy. But like, he wasn't pumped, he wasn't, you know, actively at the gym trying to lift weights, trying to look as jacked as possible. That's the same with everybody on Instagram. People only post the best sides of themselves with the best lighting, the best makeup, the best pump in the gym, you know? That's not what people look like all the time. And I feel like people kind of forget that or don't even realize that that's not the case. And then they compare themselves. I don't look like, what's a model? I don't look like Cristiano Ronaldo all the time. Yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo looks like that because he's a professional athlete. He gets paid to work out essentially and be fit as fuck and play soccer at the highest level. And he also probably pays a lot of money for a physical trainer to also look like a model so he can also be marketable to sell more things on his social media pages. Not everybody can look like that, or maybe they can if you had as much money as him or the time to focus on that. Like, most people have jobs that aren't to look good, you know?
Never close to realistic, at least physique-wise. But for strength, if you actually go to a regular commercial gym, you're probably not gonna see a single person in there benching 3 plates or deadlifting 5 plates for reps with ease. You're not gonna see anyone remotely close to these influencers or teens on social media. The moral of the story always comes down to this: social media is unrealistic and hyper-inflated. Don't compare yourself to what you see on the screen, but rather what you were like last week, or last year, or even yesterday. I can say with confidence that if you can't learn to see your own progress as something positive because it's not as good as somebody else's, then you will never enjoy the lifting journey at all. Look, a few months back, I deadlifted 300 kilos, and I was ecstatic about that lift. It was a lifetime goal for me to hit, and it took years to build up for it. But imagine if I compare myself to somebody like Regin Stergakis, who is just the junior world champion in my weight class. He is younger, he's much stronger, and deadlifts around 70 kilos more. Would that make my lift not as impressive anymore? Yes, right now there is some...
Yeah, if we all start comparing ourselves against ourselves, like that's the way to become better. You comparing yourself to somebody that's not you, that's somebody that's probably spent way more time doing the thing that you're trying to do. Like, say me, as a YouTuber, I have not a lot of subscribers. Me comparing myself to somebody that's been doing it for like years and years and years, that has a way more complex understanding of how YouTube or content creation even works will only do me a disservice by thinking that I'm just not good or I'm not meant to have this. I realize that as time goes on, I'm getting more subscribers. It might be slow, but eventually I'll get to where I want as long as I keep trying and try to improve at least one thing on my last video. If every video becomes better than the last video, then essentially I'm improving. Same goes with the weights. If I try to put maybe a 2.5 weight at the very end of the bar every time I go in, technically you're getting stronger, and eventually those tiny increments add up. So like maybe last year you were only able to bench 100 pounds, and this coming year you're now able to bench 200 pounds. Like you might increase 1 pound like every single day, and when you're doing it during the process you think, oh man, that's nothing. But like if you actually compare yourself from last year to this year, you've glowed up. You should be proud of yourself. We should all start taking progress pictures of ourselves. Progress, like analytics. Write down where you are right now and whatever it is you're doing. Are you creating a YouTube channel? How many subscribers do you have right now? Are you trying to be a gym person? What is your, I don't know, how many pull-ups can you do right now? And if you're going to be practicing pull-ups, keep doing that, keep getting better, and then maybe in 2 months or 3 months, write down how many you can do then. We compare ourselves to what we see on the screens because yes, we spend a lot of times on our screens, our computer screens, our phones. Like it's only becoming worse too as content becomes more digestible and faster to want to see the next video because content's even getting shorter and our attention spans are getting shorter. It's only going to get worse. So in order to save our mental capacity and our mental well-being, yes, watching other people for motivation, that can be good, but don't compare yourself to people that have been doing it for years and years. Don't compare yourself to The Rock when you just started going to the gym, you know? The Rock's been doing it for 20 plus years and taking hella steroids. Compare yourself to where you were yesterday and keep going from there. Eventually, you'll reach the goal that you want to reach. And if you don't reach the goal that you want to reach, that's okay too. Like, start to adjust things for your body type or who you are and what type of things that you want to be doing. Not everybody can become, you know, Mr. Beast when it comes to the amount of subscribers on YouTube, and that's okay. Set realistic goals. At the same time, shoot for the stars. That's okay too, but like just compare yourself to yesterday. You're doing great. If you needed to hear this, you right there, you're doing great. You're getting better. Believe in yourself. I believe in you. And let's keep making gold, okay? Let's keep getting better together.
Serious gym inflation going, to the degree that many top-level lifters are receiving comments like, your physique is mediocre, or you should be much stronger considering how long you...
Also, people like this, like that are slandering you or showing you hate or giving you negative feedback. In one hand, negative feedback can be like a motivating factor, like, oh yeah, I should get better because this person says something's negative. But at the same time, there's always gonna be haters. Sometimes you're doing better than somebody and they want to put their negative mindset onto you. Like they see you doing good, or like, oh man, you're such and such, your biceps are too small, or oh yeah, your eyebrows are too thin or something. Like there's always gonna be haters. Like that's just the nature of the beast. You just gotta compare yourself to where you were yesterday and keep trying to get better every day
you've been lifting. But for one, those comments only come from people who are chronically online and literally don't have anything better to do than chat shit on social media.
Absolutely.
And two, the average hasn't really improved. You're just seeing a lot more of the top level lifters every day than any person 10 or 20 years ago ever would. In fact, because there are so many more people in gyms nowadays, the actual average strength and physique might be going down. So you're actually doing a lot better even if you compare yourself to others than you may think, even though it's hard to realize, which is why I make videos like the one you're watching right now. So instead of being fixated on what some 16-year-old did last week on TikTok, take some notes and progress pictures of your own. Log your training, see how much you progressed, and believe that you can get a lot bigger, leaner, and stronger while still staying natural. The upper limit for yourself is probably a lot higher than you think, and even though the top level lifters of the world have gotten stronger, so have you. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about strength and physique inflation and social...
Yes, guys. Comparing yourself to where you were yesterday is literally the key. I say that, and I'm a person that hasn't even like done that as close as I should have. I've been going to the gym like very consistently in the past like few months. I've always been a person that's like loved working out or being fit and being athletic, but like I've taken like my fitness level or my fitness journey more seriously in the past few months. And I should be taking more pictures of myself to like show progress, but I am noticing the fact that I'm getting stronger. And even if your weight isn't going down, because like my weight, like in terms of like weight loss, hasn't really gone down, but I have still noticed that I look better with my shirt off, you know? And when it comes to like physique, sometimes your weight doesn't go down, but like muscle weighs more than fat. So if you're losing weight and gaining more muscle, like sometimes the weight doesn't go down like the way you think it should be. As long as you're progressing and just take some pictures of yourself and you notice that there are some changes, that's a plus. And when it comes to losing weight, it's really about you just burning more calories than you consume. So like maybe try tracking your calories, get an app that can help you conceptualize how much you're eating and how much you're burning. And you don't even have to do it for that long. Like once you get like a hang of it, or a mental image of what calories you're consuming and how much you're burning through activities, you don't even have to like track it for that long. You can start getting a mental image of how much calories are in this bowl of oatmeal versus how much calories are in a cheeseburger, or maybe just become more cognizant, because sometimes the calories are right next to the item. Say you're ordering something from a restaurant, you can see the calories next to it a lot of times, and maybe you just keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, comparing yourself to yesterday and just taking little progress pictures is a huge boost. I'm saying that almost as like a message to myself, because I'm not doing it as much as I should be. So I don't know, man. I think I'm getting better, and I just want to keep that mindset as something to keep like a positive light, because I feel like I'm really negative with myself. I have a lot of negative self-talk, and I know that that's not healthy, and I really need to stop that. So hopefully after this video, I start writing more things down and keeping like a little logbook of things that I'm getting better at, because negative self-talk has ruined so many endeavors in my life. But I hope that's not the same for you. Regardless, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll catch y'all next time.